All right, it is 7 o'clock, so I will call to order. This is the regular board meeting for the School District 59. It is Wednesday, April 8th. If I could have Secretary Eddie call the roll.
Mr. Bookler?
Present.
Ms. Zach?
Present.
Miss Eddy? Present. Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Ms. Kitzinger?
Here.
Ms. Notini?
Here.
And Mr. Chesney?
He's here, he's coming.
He is here.
Are you here?
Present. Say it.
All right, so then our first item is Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Did anybody sign up? All right, does anybody wish to address the board this evening? Okay, if not, we can go on to, we have no board recognition, so right into our superintendent update. So Dr. Galini for your first act.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's certainly my pleasure to be here, and truly has been a blessing to start early and to be able to reach out and connect with not only my cabinet and the folks that work here in the admin building, but our principals, our teachers, and just to see all of the hard work and dedication that is going on across the buildings. My time spent thus far, I think it's day eight on the job with kids in the building, has been extraordinarily wonderful. So I've organized my day. So pretty much in the mornings, I'm out and about at schools, connecting with teachers and principals, and just showing support and how we are going to operate as a district moving forward. And that's one of support, and that's one that is focused on high quality instruction. And that is our role as a district to provide that. This week, we had our first in-person principals meeting right here in this room, which was extraordinary. I'm very proud of our leaders. If any are here tonight, not sure, I saw some earlier. Extraordinary people, super dedicated and hungry to do the very best that they can for students. So that's been truly being out. I'm a school guy, so being out on campuses in classrooms has really been the highlight of my week, as well as building capacity and strengthening the work of my cabinet, which are our associate superintendent and assistant superintendents as well, and becoming aligned on the work that we're going to do moving forward, which is very much focused on support. You'll hear the word support, you'll hear the word alignment, and you'll hear a focus on quality instruction. And everything that we do will really be in alignment of supporting our campus-based staff, teachers, so that they can do the heavy lift that they need to do. We've already gotten a lot of feedback from our teachers and our school leaders, so it's really been great, and it's helped guide the way of how we're going to operate moving forward. Another piece which I think is worth mentioning is a commitment to building leadership density. We have assistant principals in every building, and so we're committed to ensuring that they are rising leaders. They will hopefully be our bench of future principals, and so we're committed to strengthening those their capacity as well. So one meeting per month in the principals meeting will be specifically focused toward assistant principals. Also making strong connections here at the administration building, which I've informally dubbed as the service center, not the administration building, because we are working here in this building in support and service of the work that happens out in the community. So we had a meeting where we met with every single person that works in this building, focused on our priorities, which is, again, that of supporting our campuses and making sure that every employee has what they need to thrive here. Another piece that we've just started on, and I'll touch base on it in the next slide, is our strategic planning refresh. So there was some talk at meetings earlier, prior to my arrival, about do we do a rebuild? or do we do a refresh of the plan? And the plan has really good bones, and we've come a long way as a district prior to my arrival, and the work that the team and my predecessor worked on prior to my arrival is getting curricular programs and instruction up and running. And we're going to grow off of that, of the work that's already happened, with a focus on supporting our teachers to engage our students, to put the cognitive lift on them. And so our students are really, I call it the breaking the sweat factor. So who's really breaking the sweat in the classroom, right? It's always the teacher, but we really want our students to be thinking at a high level and reading and writing and computing about 90 to 95% of the time. And so my team here is laser sharp focused on that. So part of our strategic planning, we've met twice already as a cabinet to just think, where are we, and where is it that we envision going? And I'll touch base on that in the next slide because it involves the broader community and teacher groups and board groups and such. So I'll get to that in a moment. But some really good highlighting to touch base on is we had the North Cook Intermediate Service Center 4-year audit that was just concluded here, and we were fully compliant across the board. And what that really is it's an audit that gets under the hood, so to speak, of every operation that we're doing here, from HR to instruction to instructional minutes. Are students getting what they need? Are we supporting every learner in the way in which they need to be supported? And so we were graded fully compliant across the board as a district, so that feels really good. And I can't take credit for that. That's everyone out in the community and our teams doing that work. So very proud of them for that. Also was able to last Thursday debrief. There were auditors here from Springfield to do a full audit on our multilingual programs or dual language programs, and spending time in how we are providing services to our multilingual learners, our English learners. And I was part of the debrief session, and the formal report will come in about a month. But during the debrief, the compliments and the comments that I received were, wow, this is an amazing district. Instruction is really tight. In the number of schools that they went into. They were very proud, and they said their schedule wouldn't allow them to come back for some time, but if they could, they wish they could be back here. And I asked for some of the feedback that we may see in the audit report, and it was really low-hanging fruit. It was things like, in our home language survey, this line should be here. They're really quick fixes, and so nothing that I've seen right now that has direct ties to instruction in classrooms. So I'm very proud of the work there. And our next slide is the strategic planning refresh timeline. I thought it would be appropriate to share where we are here in this process. And so the first phase, which is weeks 1 and 4, which has just started, is really understanding where we are and framing the direction that we want to go as a district, and overview of communication. So who do we need to be part of this group? We want to make sure that this is not something that's done in isolation, behind closed doors, that is something that is very transparent and inclusive of the multiple contributors in our district. So our teachers, our union partners, our building principals, our assistant principals, and of course, the Board of Education. So we are kind of had a meeting of the minds twice already, and we have one more meeting that we will have, 1 or 2 meetings that we are getting scheduled. Next, we'll move into phase 2 of that, which is gathering input from the board, staff, and our community partners so that we hold true that this is a true strategic plan. And I want to say that if you look back at the top, often strategic plans can take a year, 18 months, 7 months to materialize and turn into a document. And because we had a really strong foundation already in place, and it's really a refresh, more than anything, the cabinet and myself, we want this to be a real document that we launch the first day that our staff return from summer break. So rather than a series of superintendent goals and board goals and principal goals for their own building, we want to collate those through the involvement process in phase 2 and make sure we're launching one strategic plan that speaks to where we're going as a district, what are our long-term goals, what are our quick hits for right now, and each year really built out. And we were super intentional about that because so often strategic plans sit on a shelf somewhere and come out in the fourth year or the fifth year. And we want it to be meaningful. So that was, we put our heads together and said, can we get this done? Do we have enough time to engage community partners? And we feel that, 4 months is a good enough time to engage our contributors across the district. And so that's phase 2. Phase 3, which starts in June, is getting feedback and turning it into a very clear and updated strategic plan. So we flesh out all the errors, all the hiccups, all of the bumps along the way, and make sure that we've got a real living document that memorializes the work where we want to go as a district, our commitments to our students, our commitments to our teachers, our commitments to our taxpayers, of how we are going to operate as a district. And that happens in phase 3. And then phase 4 is the final draft development, obviously further communication, feedback from the Board of Education and our broader contributors, and a final draft development so that when our staff return, we're greeting them with not just a smile and a celebration, which we're also planning, but also a very clear direction of where we're going as a district and how we plan to reach our goals and our priorities in a very public way. And that is really, in my belief, the point of a strategic plan. And there is a lot of strategy behind it, but also a lot of great work that's already been done. So we are in a really great place to move to the next level, which is really leveling up 59 for what's next.
Can I ask a question, Dr. Cleany?
Yes,
Phase 2, gathering input. How do you plan to gather the input, or is that still being decided?
A little bit of both in full transparency. So we envision it as similar to committee meetings and group meetings where we bring people together. There may be some element of a survey, but that would be in addition to, not in lieu of, face-to-face opportunities for people to share their voice and their opinion. I enjoy connecting with people and having conversations with people. I feel that's where you get authentic answers. And often I find people get survey fatigue and they don't want to fill out these long surveys. I'd rather just open it up, and we'll do that in multiple locations across the district to be respectful of people's time and also commuting distance. So we will be out and about.
That's good. I was part of the plan, many years ago, and all of it was a great process, but it was all held here in this building.
Yeah.
So you're saying we're going to travel around to different schools to give the community an opportunity to participate?
Yes,
Sounds great.
absolutely.
Thanks.
Okay, and our next slide. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different than you may be used to, but I have had the opportunity and in my opinion, the great pleasure of starting early to start to work with my team. The role of a superintendent is not one that can be done in a silo or on my own, but really through the work of the broader team, which I call my cabinet. And my cabinet is made up of our associate superintendent, who you all know. He's been a very long tenure here in the district, and our assistant superintendents and our rising assistant superintendent, Dr. Nicole Robinson. And we have been hard at work. And that's a lot of thought, a lot of getting underneath what we're doing, what our focus should be, how are we going to elicit feedback from our teachers and our staff, and so that every decision that we make is made obviously thinking about children first, but as a group. And so I'm very confident that we are on one accord. And we've had a number of conversations and meetings, and this is a very strong team. And so I find it fitting, since they all run departments, we've worked on this document and where we're going as a district. And I think for me, it's important that they have the opportunity to share more broadly what we're doing as a district, because they have been participants in this process since I arrived. So I will turn it over to Tom, who can speak about assessment and accountability.
Thank you, Dr. Galini. I appreciate it. So yes, we are in the midst of state testing. We have a few weeks to go and are quite proud of our students and their hard work. Right now, our elementary students, grades 3 through 5, are finishing up IR reading and math, and our 8th graders at the junior high are completing science. We appreciate their efforts and all they're doing to show what they know. We also appreciate the efforts of our staff, administrators, technology assistants, everyone at the building to really put the best environment forward so our kids can do their very best. At the same time, the state is updating their accountability system. So next year, when we talk about the school report card, we're going to see a new system. It'll be based mostly on the state testing system. If you recall in the past, we saw lots of different things that drove the designation. It'll be mostly based on reading, math, and science. So we'll see some differences, and you'll see some new designations. Exemplary, we've seen that in the past, but now they'll be approaching exemplary. Commendable, we've seen that in the past. Developing and comprehensive, developing is new, comprehensive is not, and then there's an automatic comprehensive piece. All of that data will start to come in this spring and summer. We'll get that internally. We'll start to look at that, analyze that, use that in our work and preparation for next year. And then in the fall, we'll get that official information as part of the school report card. And we're looking forward to that work over the summer. Also, professional learning. We're hard at work with our summer professional learning system. We'll offer, again, a very robust bunch of opportunities for our staff with really a priority focus on high quality instruction and high performance culture. And these are really things Dr. Galini's bringing to us this year. And we're looking forward to offering those opportunities to staff.
Great, thank you very much. Lots going on in business services. And so, Mohsen.
Good evening. Preparing students to be successful for life. First step is getting to school on time. And when I signed up, I didn't know I'm handling a very special situation, but we have managed, and there are 38 days after today for instructions. So we want to make sure we manage those 38 days very well. It's going to be a challenge. I'm just cautioning you. But tonight, we are looking at a new partner, or we're going to be recommending a new partner. And in a few minutes, I'm going to be inviting Michael Batcher to come and join me. Pull up a chair in a few minutes. But just to give you a little background in terms of our bidding process, our existing contract was scheduled to expire this year. So timing wise, it was good. We went about developing a bid specification, and we were very deliberate in terms of meeting certain requirements. We made sure once we got the bid, many years ago, it was the low bid. Then there was another word introduced to the low bid known as lowest responsible bidder. Responsible bidder had some quality control, not necessarily all the ones we want. So the new law in the last few years for food service and transportation is quality-based selection process, where price is at 50%, many other factors are the other components. And you have to follow the rule, because if you make a mistake on a lot of subjective thing, you could be subject to a lawsuit. So we have to be careful. Fortunately, in our case, the lowest responsible bidder was the same one we are recommending. So that's a good thing. Later on in the presentation, when you're looking at the approval, you'll see the financial component. But we want to make sure, because this is so important to the community to have a reliable, consistent transportation, that we highlight some of the key points. So that's why I deliberately made sure talk about it and ask Michael Batcher to talk about it. He can talk for hours. We don't want that to happen. Just an overview. But we want to make sure people know that you're approving a company which has a presence. It's not a small company. It's a very large company. It's a stable company based on their financial. They have an extensive training program. We'll briefly touch base on that one, but later on, if there's ever a topic we can dedicate on bus transportation safety training for drivers, bus quality control to make sure everything is fine. What do they do after the day is over, checking the buses and so on? And then what commitments have they made to our school district so far? Like, we want to make sure they have the drivers. We had a very successful meeting. We can ask them how many drivers have all submitted the applications. I know they're in process of buying 350 buses from Safeway, which should be closing in a few weeks. And the leasing of facility within our school district. So Michael, can you join? And we have all the high-powered people from their corporation, but Michael is the only one lucky enough to be doing the presentation.
Believe me, we noticed when you four gentlemen walked in here.
I thought they were your security detail.
Well, we kind of try to function like that, keep them on the straight and narrow a little bit.
And just before we jump in, I'd like to say thank you very much for coming out, because this is such an important decision that needs to be made. I think Mohsen was correct in that the very first thing we need to do is ensure our students get to school. And that is a challenge right now. And like any strong organization, it's important that we ensure that, we understand, when the board moves forward, what we're signing up for, right? And if we can hold true to that commitment to making sure that every student gets to school on time. So I appreciate you coming.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Again, my name is Michael Betcher. I'm with Durham School Services. I am currently the Director of Business Development for the state of Illinois. Previously, I have been a general manager managing a location, as well as a regional manager managing multiple locations throughout the state of Illinois in my 10-year time with Durham. We have been in business for over 100 years. Currently, we are the second largest student transportation provider within the nation. We are currently operating in over 30 states in the country, as well as 2 provinces in Canada. We have over 13,000 buses, 19,000 employees, and over 250 school district customers within the U.S. In Illinois, we have over 30 school district customers in the state of Illinois. Our headquarters is in Warrenville. The 2 closest locations we have to you guys right now, versus as opposed to the one that we're opening up for you in the next few months or so. We are in Wheeling as well as Carroll Stream. Our parent company is I Squared, and they are headquartered. They are a investment firm, and just to kind of touch on the financial stability of them, they're an independent global infrastructure investment manager, and they essentially target high quality, resilient infrastructure assets, as well as power, energy, environmental infrastructure, digital infrastructure, all across North America. Their annual revenue exceeds $1 billion, as well as their net equity exceeds $300 million. So we do maintain a stable financial position, as well as having sufficient working capital, cash flow, and access to credit should we need it for any of the requirements within our contractual commitments and our daily operations. Really, I want to touch on our commitment to safety, because that is our number one value, and that is really at the heart of everything that we do. Our goal is to reduce risk in every facet of transportation. Our company motto is getting students to school on time and ready to learn. And I think that goes hand in hand with preparing students for to be successful for life. Really, we want to make sure that we get kids to school on time and ready to learn. Really, we will focus on utilizing our state certified instructors and third-party testers in order to implement our thorough comprehensive training program with all of the current drivers. Our goal would be to acquire all of them, as well as we want to make sure that we work and interview staff, mechanics. We understand that there is value with their knowledge of the students, of the routes, of the community, and what they have been doing day in and day out. And so being able to bring our training program and our processes and the structure that we have in order to help benefit them even further, as well as our support teams, our management teams. With our headquarters being in Warrenville, our corporate safety teams, our recruitment teams, our maintenance teams, we have a lot of support that we are able to offer and provide. And so we will look forward to very quickly after tonight, in order make sure that we get in front of the drivers, in front of the monitors, all the staff. We want to be able to get the training process started, make sure that we get enough applications in, and that we're able to be fully staffed. We have had some events so far. We have had good turnouts, but we also know that we don't have an official contract or any kind of board action. So we think that is very good progress so far. So we look forward to having more events. We have several scheduled over the next few weeks in terms of hiring events. But our drivers and our monitors, everyone will be required to go through our training program, which will include classroom training. And a big part of that is going to be procedures, processes, communication styles, how we can best work with students with special needs, how to work through behavioral challenges on the bus. But a big focus obviously will be on understanding the DOT requirements, understanding the safety requirements of the bus, as well as child check, thorough processes around the child check procedures. We require, as the state does, that there's a switch at the rear of the bus where the drivers must walk through the entire bus to then flip that switch to turn off the child check alarm to ensure that they are having to walk through the back of the bus. Should they not do that, an alarm will go off that is loud enough to be heard throughout the entire bus yard. Everyone knows if you do not press that button. In addition to that, that requirement is not just on the driver, but it is on any of our employees that are on the bus. So if we have monitors on the bus, that is also the monitor's responsibility to walk that bus to make sure that there are no students on that bus. We also will have signage that we require to be put up at the rear of the bus so that anyone walking through the yard can see that there is a signage in the window of the bus, and that bus has been inspected. We also then have an additional check that the drivers will have to then sign off prior to swiping out of their task to state that, yes, I acknowledge I did inspect the bus. I did walk the bus. There was no students on that bus. We think that is critically important, that takes place after each and every route, not just the end of the day, after every route. Our commitment to the district, as much as there is a strong financial commitment, there's a strong personal commitment, not just from me, but from our staff. We have multiple team members here as well. But we are committed to a successful transition. We understand that these things can be worrisome and challenging, and that is a big part of what we do. We have worked with other school districts, most recently with Glenbard High School Township, or High School District, forgive me, to help transition through in the middle of the school year for them. So we did do one early with them for a January 1 start. We did that in 6 weeks. Very, very difficult, very, very challenging. Thankfully, we have a bit more time here, so that's good. But we will be leasing a facility in the area, and we have a couple options right now. So I don't want to, get ahead of ourselves a little bit. But we will also be purchasing a large number of buses, ensuring that we have buses that are compliant with the specification requirements, and that we have time to ensure that everything is in good working order, everything is up to our requirements, as well as having all of our safety technology on the bus. A big part of what we think is important is having the checks and balances on the bus so that we have the flexibility to ensure that our drivers are doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, and that we also have coaching opportunities to be able to reduce risk and ensure that drivers have the most positive behaviors. So our plan would be to recruit and try to gain all of the current drivers, the monitors. We would like to interview staff, mechanics, everybody that we can at the current operation. And that is going to be a big part of what we will be doing over the next several weeks. So I appreciate appreciate you guys hearing this out. Thank you.
I have a quick
We-
question.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
questions, yeah.
We currently use an app called Here Comes the Bus. Are you familiar with that app?
Yeah.
Do you know of any other apps that are out there that are better than that, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, there's a few different ones. I mean, we have utilized one called Bus Zone with a lot of our school district customers. That's one that has been pretty good. It's a Zonar product. We have used MyRide, but I mean, there's a really, as long as the input is right and it's used right, usually the apps do an okay job. We do like Bus Zone because it also allows for push communication, so we can communicate with parents, let them know like, hey, bus 59 is running 5 minutes late, something like that. It's a really, really helpful tool. So we did include a parent app as well to make sure that everyone has access to be able to see, when their bus is arriving and also have some communications.
That is included in.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Bus Zone is the app that you.
Yeah, we did include Bus Zone. Yes.
Just as some of the problems having with the GPS system, it's not the system which is not working. It's not transferable if they change the buses last minute, and that's where the problem is.
Okay, I also have a question. The other bidder here is bidding for 3 years, 27 million. How can you do it for 22?
Well, a big part of it was cost controls and ensuring that what we are doing is trying to give you guys the most fiscally responsible bid. And so we're also looking at efficiencies, not just through the routing piece of it, but in terms of how we will look at scheduling time. And so we try our best to ensure that there isn't as much deadhead, that there's not as much wasted time in general. And so that's a big part of it. We may not have had the same profit margins as well. That's probably also a big part of it.
Any more questions?
No, I appreciate you, Mohsen, looking at all the different bus companies and making a recommendation. So thank you. You've been great.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
May I ask a question, just real quick? In the event that you're unable to acquire the current employees, what would outreach look like to ensure that we're fully staffed prior to
yeah.
the start of the school year?
So we are still doing outside events as well, currently, even. Not, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket, right? So really, we already have postings up. So we will utilize all of the different internet services, Indeed, all those things. A big part of it will be social media, getting community events and making sure that we got signs out there. We've also, we'll put buses out, banners on them, things like that. But a big part of it was going to be partially some grassroots marketing style type opportunities, as well as hosting large job fairs. Really, we utilize a software program called Phenom, and that is one of the things that we have found has been really empowering for our corporate recruiting team, as well as our local recruiting team, because it gives them the opportunity to have a number of candidates that they can maintain contact with throughout the application process, as well as the training process. And so we found that if people don't have consistent touch points throughout that process, they tend to fall off and they tend to not, stay committed through it. So we want to make sure that they feel we are committed to them as well, and that it's not just them trying to get a job. We want to help them through this process. And so as much as our priority and our focus will be to get all the drivers that we can from the incumbent, it is not going to be our sole approach at all. So we're going to continue pushing through to ensure that we are reaching out throughout the entire community.
I have another question, actually. As Nicole had mentioned, there's been a lot of issues with the apps and parents getting timely information. If for some reason the apps just aren't working, is there a phone number that parents can call and get someone to answer to give them the status of their bus?
Oh, yeah. So we'll have a dedicated team that we will have dispatchers that will not just be, driver facing, but customer facing, community facing. And that's really a big part of what we think is important, not just from the dispatcher perspective, but also having some layers. So we have operations supervisors that we have built in, as well as general managers and safety training supervisors, so that the community does have people that they can go to when things come up. It's as much as the app can help prevent or reduce parent calls, there's likely going to be calls anyways, right? Things come up. And we understand that while there could be some value in calling the district, we are the ones that are managing that process. So we want to make sure that they're calling us, that they're calling the right people, right? Because we will be able to understand maybe what their challenges are. If it's with the app, we can help them through that. If it's with a particular, route challenge or student challenge, maybe we can try to understand what their challenge is and try to communicate with you guys and see, hey, maybe we can do something here, maybe not. We think it's important not to make promises that you can't fulfill, but to ensure that you're hearing out and providing the best customer service that you can to all the community members.
More thing, do we expect any changes to like the timing of our buses, like compared to what we have now?
Depending on the address of the student and the routing, there will always be tweaking, but our expectation is, and we even talked about seeing if we can keep the same drivers. They still have to meet the hiring standard, but our expectation is we don't want to put anyone on unemployment if they want to work, and if they have good record, we want them to come back, hopefully at the same routes.
So what are the preliminary numbers of the hiring?
So I think in our first event, we did have roughly 30 individuals attend and complete some applications. And we have several that would be happening in the next couple of weeks, which we felt pretty good about that, given that there has been no action, there's been no contract or anything like that. Just the fact that we have been at least identified as a finalist, I think that's a really positive outcome.
And it's 30 out of what will be the need?
We need about over 70.
Okay.
So this room was full, and I think we counted close to 60 people.
Yeah, there were more than the applications that we've received already. So we've had over 60 people in attendance, but I think we received about 30 applications.
And then for the app that you use, is there any way the parents can track in real time and see where exactly the bus is, or is that not offered?
We try to have it set so that after a certain point they can see it. Like the closer that the bus gets to them,
Yes.
then they can see it.
Okay,
We
cool.
don't necessarily want them or want the bus to be visible throughout the entirety of the route.
Okay.
But what is most important to them, right?
We in the district office have that ability.
Okay, good. Because I know it's been frustrating for parents. Like they said 5 minutes and now it's 15 minutes. Where's the bus? So
Yeah. In general, we can see where the buses are,
Okay, cool.
as well as the district will be able to see. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you heard me when I introduced, there are two items, actually the state made changes on quality-based selection process going away from low bid. Food service used to be the most notorious when it came to complaints for quality of food for two reasons. One is, I don't know if you remember, but Department of Agriculture food choices are very, very limited. And if you have a national lunch program, there are even more extensive limitations, to a point where if you go in a cafeteria and you see a lot of people not eating, but you still have to provide that meal. And it gets a little more stringent next year with sugar content and all that too. But we serve close to about 4,000 or 5,000 meals every day. And like you go into the same restaurant, you eventually get tired. So there is meal rotation. The meals are selected based on a focus group. We heard some complaints, and we're going to make sure we increase the frequency of the focus group to get more input from the students.
And what is the focus group?
Focus group is made up of students who eat, and it's organized by the building. And one person from our office, Stacy, goes and organizes, takes feedback, gets help from Organic Life, which is the service provider. The food service company really is a management company. We decide what the price is, and 60% of our students are free and reduced. So the remaining 40% are the ones who buy, and we still regulate that and keep the price low. Now, there are some school districts surrounding our district where the items may cost more and they may have more selection, because for those people who can afford to buy, but that gets very pricey. So we are trying to not raise the price, because the school district underwrites the cost if the price is high. But we look at the focus group, what the demand is. If there is demand for more selection and more pricey items, we will address it, but we want to be very careful not to ding the budget of the family.
But that's where I have a concern. We're saying kids select food. And I hate to say it from my own experience, kids are not always best at selecting what's good for them, what's healthy for them, I should say. When I hear kids are selecting and basically there's maybe one adult, for me that's a red flag. Like, I think parents should have an input. I mean, especially what we're talking about. If we increase quality or if we increase selection, it might get more expensive. Maybe it's good to have a couple of options that are going to be a little bit healthier, even though it's going to be $1 or $2 more, right? Kids most likely will say, "Nah, I like my mac and cheese," or "I like my, Sloppy Joe." But is that really the healthy thing to do?
Mac and cheese, tacos, pizza, usually a very, very popular item.
And very,
not
very bad for you.
approved by Department of Agriculture. They control the content as well as frequency.
I've seen how that our mac and cheese looks like, and I asked my daughter not to eat it, although she was the first one who said she doesn't want to. So I think there should be more input. What I'm saying,
Definitely. That's why we'll increase the focus group frequency.
Well, it's still kids.
Kids, if you feel there is, because we coordinate with the buildings, adults in the building. In other words, we want to make sure we're customer focused. So we'll make sure we get all the.
I'd say the parents are the customer.
Fine. We'll add that too. We'll follow the guideline at the same time. If we have more discretion, we'll add more people.
I'm going to insist on parents also you having input.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wilson, can I ask some clarification on the contract? It says we're in 3.5, year 3.5 of our contract. How many years is our contract in
So
total?
it's a 5-year contract. I'll go down the list because I want to make sure.
Okay.
So I talked about the quality-based selection process.
Okay.
It is a very extensive bid document, so I'm glad it was done 2 years ago. It requires on-site visit, quality control-ish, everything, and a rating, which gets subjective, and that gets challenged also many times in courts. And there has been lawsuits on that one. But Organic Life has usually been one of the two companies which are considered the top-tier companies. And other companies, very big in high schools, where they offer a lot of options with pricey items. And same thing, Organic Life is in the 2 Naperville School District. So it's a fairly well-known company. We always want to look for opportunities for our students to get the best possible meal and provide them with a good experience, nutritional experience. And Organic Life has that reputation, but we'll address if there are any concerns to make sure there is no such thing as zero complaints per se, but we want to minimize and offer options. Within Department of Agriculture, every year because of the nutritional counts and all that stuff, they're tightening the flexibility. And many times, if I go as an adult in the food area, and it really is hurtful when you see so much food being thrown in the garbage, because we are offering because we need to offer, and it's not being used. So It's one of those things you really don't have that much flexibility. But we'll monitor, we will evaluate and increase the frequency, get input from more people than just the students, and work on that one for this year as well as going forward next year.
Do you know if they have a share basket in the lunchroom for items that aren't being used?
I am not sure what they're doing it in our district.
I've seen it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And I know they have a national share basket.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think
Association.
things like vegetables and all that, usually cooked vegetables wouldn't go there. But we'll monitor that and make sure, because we
Typically you have an apple or banana.
want it to be a good experience for our students. All right? Thank you.
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Is that the end of your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I can't help it. I had mentioned this to Dr. Galini that I was going to bring this up. I'm going to go down memory lane here, everyone. So I don't know how many years, 7, 8 years ago, maybe, when I was a parent in the district, our previous food service company, not Organic Life,
Sodexo.
I think quit. Like, was it in March? Like they just quit. They said, we're done. And I spoke to the superintendent at that time, and he said that he was very frank. He said, they told us we cannot spend one more day in your district. We're losing so much money on your account. And it was because they claimed that when the contract was signed, it was an understanding that we would have our own
Kitchen.
local food service facility, exclusive food service facility that will just service our schools. That has a huge impact on the cost. I wonder if it could also impact the quality and the choices. But it's something that we've tossed around on this board. And now we're, I know we still are in the midst of a contract, but just would like to bring this up to see, if we can, as a board, start talking about that, about facility. This building was actually considered for the kitchen. And I believe there was some pushback in the community. It fizzled out real quick. I wasn't on the board then. I don't know all the politics behind it, but it fizzled out real quick and it just didn't happen. And I have never heard it discussed again. Molson, in your experience, is this something, I'm sure that our districts do it because otherwise, Sodexo wouldn't have said that. So how common is that? How much of a savings could come from that?
There's not going to be any saving if you look at the full cost, but cooking from scratch is not unusual in elementary school district. It's just not done on the elementary side. It's usually done in partnership, intergovernment agreement with the high school. And there are companies who will be glad to provide a factory kitchen in this area, serving multiple
I would think
school
so, in
districts.
Elk Grove, in Arlington Heights.
And there are kitchens in Franklin Park for the West Cook County and all that stuff. So having a kitchen in each building does not make sense.
No, not in each building.
Right.
I'm saying one central
One
location just for District 59.
Or you can have a one central kitchen in the district area and serve everyone. So
Yes, yeah,
usually
yeah.
that's
So-
an option once we have this contract. So 3 more years on the contract. And usually something like that for the kitchen and all that, you need to plan ahead. But it's not unusual. You can put it on the bid specification you want, food from scratch. It's financially feasible. It's just that if you have to put kitchen in every building, it becomes very expensive.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're talking about building.
Right.
So, this is just a discussion here, but what are we asking for in terms of a renewal with Organic Life? I just want to be sure we
Sure.
understand that we like to explore this other option before we renew.
So now what you're approving over here is a rate increase for next year. And fortunately, that's the only contract you will approve which is linked to CPI. So this is a CPI-driven contract for next year.
Just for next year, it has nothing to do with extending their overall
Well,
contract.
we signed a 5-year contract.
Yeah,
Unless we have
that's fine.
grounds to dismiss them,
Okay,
it's just extending rate for next year. They'll come again next year with a new CPI.
Okay.
But if we ever feel down the road that this company is not for us, we have to disqualify them from an existing contract, which can be challenging unless we have grounds for it. Like we have grounds for Safeway, but we don't have the options. So let's put it this way.
So motion, you're saying when in year 3 or 5, we're just starting or about to start?
We're finishing the second year.
Okay, that's it. Just wanted to clarify it. Yep.
So next year is going to be the 3rd year.
Okay. So yes, then it makes sense to wait basically one more year or so on any action to start looking at kitchens or facilities.
And really, the most
Consider-
successful model are the high school partnership with 214.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening. I'm very excited to be here in partnership with Ms. Savage as we begin our leadership transition in the Curriculum and Instruction Department as she retires in June and I step into the position officially in July. So I'll talk through a few updates that are going on in our department. The first thing I'd like to talk about is our department's work, planning for a shift in our focus towards high quality instruction, as Dr. Galini mentioned earlier. As you know, we've made significant gains in the district in the past several years by shoring up our curriculum across all areas, all subject areas, and all programs. As we step into what comes next in District 59, we know that focusing in on how we are teaching students is the next place to go. So we have been in the instruction department planning for how will be supporting our building leaders and our teachers as they make, as we work on what they need to meet their students' needs in terms of instructional practices in the classroom every day. So we're very excited to begin that work, and we know our teachers are excited to head in that direction as well. I mentioned that we're focusing on instruction, but in our department, we never take our eyes off of curriculum, of course. And so we have a curriculum management process, which really holds us accountable for checking in on all of our programs and making sure things are running well. So we do have some curriculum pilots that are going on currently and will happen in the fall. So wanted to update you on those things. As you may know, a few years ago, we conducted a program review in our talent development program, which is the program that provides services to advanced learners in grades 3 through 5 in our elementary schools. And as part of that action plan, we determined the need to look at the math and reading curriculum that was being offered to students in that program. And so currently this year, we have been engaging in pilots of 2 resources. We just finished up one and are starting a new resource pilot for math instruction. And I want to give a shout out to our TDP teachers and all the work that they've been doing in making sure that what we choose for our students is going to meet their needs and really push them beyond those grade level expectations in an engaging way in the classroom. So those are going on this spring, and we intend to have a decision made so that we can begin implementation of this new resource in the fall. Moving on to junior high science, our science teachers have been teaching from a resource called STEM Scopes. As you know, we adopted STEM Scopes in 2020 and have been using that program ever since, so for 6 years. So part of our curriculum management process was to check in on the progress of that resource and make sure it was meeting our students and teachers' needs. So all year, our junior high science teachers, along with Ann Fleming, our curriculum coordinator, who oversees that program, have been checking in on data. How are our student outcomes going? How is our usage of the STEM scopes going? Are teachers using the resource? Are they happy with the resource? And as a result of all of that learning, we've decided that we want to take a look at 2 new resources because since 2020, we're very excited to see that there have been many more high quality programs, resources come into the market. So we're excited to take a look at 2 new resources in the fall. We'll be, of course, communicating with families and letting them know about what those resources are and giving opportunities for for families in the community to come in and take a look at those resources as we pilot them in the fall. And again, I want to just shout out those teachers who've been digging in and really telling us their feedback about what's working well currently and what we're looking for in terms of moving forward with a new resource in the future. Elementary PE. We've been working with our K-5 PE teachers. Our curriculum coordinator, Michelle Benages, who is overseeing math, has also taken on PE and health this year, which has been a great opportunity for her to grow her leadership, and she's been doing a great job, as well as our PE council and the entire PE department, who've really dug into what the PE and health standards are. We've set some priority standards and then worked on a learning progression from K2 to 3-5. What should students be able to do, and how do those standards fit in across those developmental levels? And with that, we have chosen 2 resources to begin piloting in the fall. Again, we'll be providing communication and notice about what that looks like. And we look forward to seeing how our students are engaging with these resources and how our teachers feel about their ability to implement them and get assessment, get progress on how the students are growing in those skills.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Of course.
You have picked the 2 new resources already for PE and for,
Yes, and for
okay, can you
science.
put that in our update?
Certainly.
Thank
yes. Mhm. Sure. And last but not least, we have the LRC. So that is our library resource centers in all of our schools. We're so grateful to have wonderful libraries that are the hub of our schools, right? And our elementary students are able to participate in specials with LRC every week, and we're very grateful for that. Our LRC teachers have developed a framework for their learning, which we are very excited in the instruction department to partner with Mr. Gray and his department to do some cross-departmental collaboration to ensure that that framework is robust and that we can provide some more details and scope and sequence beyond that to make sure our LRC teachers have what they need and that this is an engaging and enriching experience for our kids throughout the district. Mr. Gray will go into a little bit more details later on that, but very excited for that cross-departmental collaboration.
Can I just ask a question?
Of course.
Is that just library, or is that the library and then the STEM part of it?
Yeah, it includes all of that. Mr.
Okay.
Gray will talk about the 4 areas. Yeah. Mhm. And then finally, we have been busy planning for our summer programs. As you know, that planning starts in the dead of winter. So in January, we begin planning for summer. And so we have 2 summer programs, as you know, Summer Leap, which the LEAP, if you remember, stands for Learn, Explore, Achieve, and Perform. That is our summer academic support and also enrichment program. It will be housed again this year at Forest View and the Holmes campus. And we have sent out an email to all families in the district with opportunities for them to enroll their students. So we have hired teachers and staff, and students are enrolling currently in that. We also, of course, have our extended school year program, which is for our students who receive special education services and qualify for the need to continue that learning in the summer. And that will be housed at Juliet Low. And they have also begun hiring for that and enrolling students as needed. So we're in a good spot for our summer programs, which will run for 4 weeks from June 8th through July 2nd.
Dr. Robinson, can I just ask what impact the significant increase in the teacher pay rate for summer school has had on the hiring process?
I believe it has had a good impact. We had a significant amount of teachers and staff apply for summer school this year, which is fantastic. We're able to provide more flexibility and more opportunities for our students as a result.
Do we still expect to use university students as we have in the past?
We do still have an enrichment program through the partnership with Roosevelt University. That's our Spanish Dual Language Academy, and that runs for 3 weeks. That's in addition to the Spanish Dual Language program that we can provide here in the district, and just another enriching opportunity.
Okay, so that wasn't chosen because we just didn't have enough teachers? It was just a separate program?
Yep, a separate program to just provide more opportunities for our students. And we renew that every year. And so if we see that we don't have a need or a space, it really is coming into, do we have enough classrooms now to provide, what our students need? So we renew that every year and determine whether we need to continue with that.
Okay, thank you.
And then Dr. Robinson, for the curriculum, for the science and the PE, how are those 2 curriculums selected that you were bringing forward to the committee? How did you decide on those?
Great question. We went through a number of vendor presentations, and our councils, so our PE council or our science teachers have an evaluation criteria that they go through, and then we choose the top 2 that we feel will meet our needs best after the vendor presentation and reviewing the curriculum materials in person.
Okay, so now they're gonna implement them and
Yep.
try out what's going to work.
Yep.
Is each teacher going to do both curriculums, or are you splitting it up?
Yes, so each teacher who volunteers to pilot will do one unit in one curriculum and another unit
Oh,
in
good.
another curriculum.
Excellent.
For science,
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
Perfect.
PE is a little bit different because of the way the platforms work. And I can put that in the board update, but we're doing both at the same time.
Okay, and then you'll put what those programs are as well?
We certainly will.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask about K-5 science?
Sure.
Because weren't they also using STEM scopes?
Yes, and K-5 science. So we use an integrated literacy approach at the elementary school. So our literacy resources have science and social science units. So for example, a literacy unit might be based on plants and animals. So we're doing a lot of learning and reading of texts about plants and animals. So STEM scopes we use to supplement or augment the science concepts within the literacy units. So it's more of used supplementarily, is that a word? As a supplement in the K-5 because the literacy has the meat of the texts, and then we just add in the lessons as needed.
Okay,
So
and
we're not looking to change that at this time, just because of the heavy lift that would place on our teachers to learn a new program there.
So there's not like really hands-on science going on in K-5?
Yes, that's the hands-on pieces are what we add from STEM scopes.
Oh, okay.
That is not evident in the literacy pieces.
Okay. I'm just curious, and I don't know if you can answer this, like the decision to integrate science and social studies with literacy, is that, certainly nothing this board has decided on. I'm just curious how that decision is made to not have it be like kind of a standalone sort of curriculum.
Most of the literacy resources that are available now that are aligned to the standards are including science and social science concepts, because we know how key it is to build comprehension. We have to build knowledge. So students who have that background knowledge and understanding of those concepts are going to be able to read those texts more deeply and understand. So all of the sources that we piloted when it came to the literacy curriculum included those science and social science units. And so we found it necessary to augment them because they're not meaty enough to get really into the details. So we have inquiry journeys for social science that we augment with those units, and then STEM scopes for science.
Are we looking to, I'll be honest, I've heard that science is fairly non-existent. That's how I've heard it described. I even had the same experience with my kids. Are we going to revisit that?
Yeah, and I would say we have increased our science units significantly over the past few years, and we have even standalone units at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade because we know our students are going to be taking the ISA in 5th grade and need to experience those concepts. So I'll say we have, in the past 2 years, really augmented those and made sure that we have significant science. But we're always taking a look, and we'll continue to do that. And as we dig into our science scores, our ISA scores, are we tracking, are we making growth, and how can we continue that?
Thank you.
Yeah,
And the
I think that's-
hands-on experiences are
Yeah.
best. Kids love when they get
Yes,
to
and
do
we
those
will
experiments and-
absolutely ensure that with our 6-8 pilot, those resources have hands-on activities because we know that's so essential.
Right. I think that's something super important that we want to make sure that while we're integrating, and that was part, I believe, of the last curricular adoption, that it was an integrated curriculum. But I think it's important that we make sure that we don't take, the hands-on, the lab portion out of science. It's where kids often learn the most and actually love the most. And what we don't want is, and I think that was the intention behind infusing STEM scopes in, is that what we don't want science to be is, when I was a kid, read pages 1 to 3 and answer the 3 questions on page 3, right? So we're committed to taking a deeper look at that and making sure that there is a deeper hand component moving forward. And we've actually spoken about that already. So we'll be well underway this summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. I know some of the issues I found is teachers who might not be as familiar with science as other teachers is that setup and making sure that they get that training and to get it up. Yeah, the support for it.
Absolutely right. Thanks, Mr. Buchler.
And then I've got a really good website of like a virtual labs. I'll have to
Okay,
send your way
send
for the
it to
committee
me.
to look at. If you like it, great. If not,
Thank you.
sure.
Love it. Thank you.
Great job, Dr. Pinson. Good evening, Board of Education. I'm very excited to share some Human Resource Department happenings with you. I know the regional office compliance audit was already shared, but I must share it again. The HR component of that is pretty significant. 2 of the regional office team members spend an entire day with the HR team, and they review, I think, over 200 individual personnel files. This is something the team has been preparing for over a year, with many new and updated requirements for personnel files. And my highlight is right there. The opportunity to meet and work in person with District 59 HR was an incredibly valuable and enjoyable experience. When do people say incredibly enjoyable about HR? They say it when they visit 59. That's right. And that is a credit to the incredible HR team and the work over the last year led by our coordinator, Caltrina Arroyo. So thank you to her. The 26-27 staffing plan, what a great opportunity to be able to connect with our new superintendent many weeks ago on multiple occasions to align our future vision to next year's staffing plan, as opposed to our typical cycle would have been almost a year from now. That plan is aligned to be resource rich, a staffing model that will make right-sized decisions while reflecting student needs, class size enrollments, but also the long-term fiscal sustainability, but through staff attrition. As you know, we have a retirement benefit in our contract, and so this is the perfect time for us to start looking and forecasting ahead so that we can make the just right decisions for our schools and our future finances. We have already started notifications to staff who may be transferring. Jobs are posted. We already have 12 positions filled for next year, most of which are special education. We've been on the hunt since December, and we are actively posting and hiring right now. I have to share an appreciation for all of the hiring managers. That's executive directors, coordinators, our principals, our assistant principals. They are doing a terrific job sense-making our choices and our changes. Sometimes there's a domino effect, and it's kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle. So communications are also very complicated to get them right, to make sure we're living our value of compassion with staff and making sure we're communicating appropriately. That administrative team is just knocking it out of the park. And then finally, it's that time of year for open enrollment for our staff with insurance. The insurance committee, we have a number of insurance committee members here. I think John is here, Cindy and Ann. TR is here, Mosen is part of the committee, if I missed anyone. We've been reviewing a number of plan items because, as you can imagine, what you read in the paper about all of the costs, we are able to sustain our plan with reasonable increases, and that has come through a lot of hard work. Very proud of that team as well. And HR is preparing for the staff open enrollment window, which just this afternoon has been updated to a May 4th start. So we will start communicating that out to staff. And tremendous thanks to Mary Schlotman, our HR benefits specialist, who makes all of that happen. Thank you.
Okay, communications. So my department is really focusing on Parent Square right now. So this evening, the board will be taking action on a 3-year contract for Parent Square. So following the approval of that, we will execute a strategic rollout plan that really supports staff and family adoption through targeted awareness, training, and also digital and in-person learning opportunities, which I think will be really key. So we're very excited to get started using this really cool and unified platform. So thank you to the task force who helped us identify the tool that we were going to be using moving forward, and who helped us finalize our rollout plan. In addition, we are continuing our push around registration because we know the importance of early enrollment. So we are continuing our close collaboration with the community outreach specialist team to really strengthen family connection and outreach efforts specifically tied to registration. And then we are also just continuing outreach efforts around registration, continuing communications. And also we've done some really fun, engaging enrollment videos videos with a few of our kindergarten classes across the district. So thank you so much to the 3 kindergarten teachers who let Brandon from my team and I come in and capture that content. There's currently 1 video out on Instagram and Facebook. If you have not seen it, I encourage you to do so. And then we will be posting 2 more. So stay tuned for those. And then lastly, we are continuing to focus on sharing the positive school and student stories so that are happening across the district. So most recently, we had the story on the Buddy Bench at Claremont, which you may be able to kind of see the photo behind this slide. 2 students actually raised money and donated the Buddy Bench to their school playground, which is just incredible. It really focused on promoting inclusion and peer connection through student-centered initiatives. So we look forward to highlighting more stories, including an upcoming one on the dance club at Salt Creek, which we were able to capture some video of before spring break. So we look forward to sharing all of the good news stories happening across our schools.
I just have a question. In the past, we've had presentations from students or teachers with different clubs, and I heard that somebody, and I don't know, I don't think it was this board, but I could be wrong, said we don't want to see that anymore. And I don't know, I don't agree with that, but is there any? Okay, I'm like, can we start bringing it back?
Yeah, update, there we go.
Okay, good.
Just talk about that. So I have only been here for 2 years, so I have not been here when there have been student recognition and happenings at board events, but we actually just had a board communications committee meeting prior to this, and it was mentioned that the board wants to bring this back, which I think would be great because we are always looking to highlight the incredible work happening across our schools, and we know the students are the core of that. So I am unsure of the process of how to make that happen, but I will work with the cabinet if the board wants to move forward in doing that.
That would be amazing, because don't get me wrong, I love listening to you guys talk, but I want to hear the teachers and the kids.
Absolutely.
I'll just throw in a caveat to it. We have to be careful. I really do not want to go back to the meetings that went till like 10, 11 p.m. Like we need to be careful.
I totally think,
and
I totally agree with that. I think if we as a board can make sure that our questions and everything is in ahead of time, I think we'll be able to knock these out. I have.
Yeah, we mentioned in our meeting with Rachel earlier today that maybe we would look at board meetings that don't have like hefty agendas, like not the budget or the tax levy one, but ones that have a little more time.
We're going to miss Mosin. We got to have some entertainment in here, you know?
No distractions.
All right, good evening. I'm excited to share some celebrations and updates from student services and support with you. First and foremost, our professional learning communities are in year 2 of our implementation, as you know, and our PLCs are a method that we use to continuously improve high quality instruction in District 59. This is where groups of educators are coming together with a common goal to improve student outcomes. They review data together, they choose high impact instructional strategies to implement as a team, they implement them, and then they come back and review student outcomes to see how effective it was and what needs to be done next. And our teachers have such a great deal of skill and ideas. This is the opportunity for them to share with each other, come together, collaborate, and work smarter, not harder, on what we're doing for students each and every day. So Dr. Galini and I have had an opportunity to get out to some elementary schools to see PLCs in action, to watch our lead activators, which are teacher leaders, facilitate sessions with their teams and come to agreement on instructional strategies that they will be implementing. And we have been really impressed with the depth of discussion that we're hearing from those teams and the collaboration among them. We will have some opportunities coming up next week too to see junior high PLCs in action and continue to see the growth of our educators, which we know result in great outcomes for our students. In addition, thank you to the board, to our families, and to our staff who participated in tonight's School Safety and Discipline Committee right before this meeting. We had an opportunity to focus on discipline data really from the past 5 years, and we're very excited to share that we have had a decrease in our overall student behavioral incidents for the last 4 years in a row.
And that is due to the hard work of our teachers, of our families, and of our students, learning social and emotional skills and getting those things in place. So it was a very good opportunity for us to also hear as a district input from our partners on what we need to focus in on, and that is what we will use to inform our work going into next school year. We also have another meeting coming up right before our next board meeting in May, and that will be focused on evaluating the school resource officer program with that same representative group. In addition, we are scheduling our annual safety review meetings. These are meetings with our first responders from each municipality and the schools that are within that municipality. It occurs towards the end of the year because that allows us to get feedback and have dialogue on how our safety practices are occurring within our buildings. And so we have our police officers and our firefighters present who have observed our school drills and observed our protocols in action, who can say, here's an area that you might want to focus in on, or a doorway that you need to look at as a building that could be a problem area. And so that informs our work as well and is a great partnership between our first responders and our building administrators. And last but not least, we are very excited because we have heard from Des Plaines that they are now able to staff a school resource officer for our Des Plaines schools, which will round out our SRO team for next school year. We can applaud. We're very excited because that also allows our SROs from our different villages to come together as a team for our district and really help us work towards executing our safety and security goals. So lots of celebrations about collaboration and partnership going on in student services and support.
I want to thank you so much because seriously, I know we've given you such a hard time and asked you for a million updates and when are you going to get Des Plaines and when are you going to get it? And it came. And I know we weren't like waiting on you. It was many other things in the universe, but thank you so much for the hard
We
work.
stuck with it and we're really excited to get started next year.
Thank you, Katie.
So I have a funny complaint as you just killed my only question I had. So thank you.
I apologize, Lucas, and you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Do we have a date for the annual safety review meeting? Or
They
not?
are different for each of the villages.
Okay.
So we have 4 different dates that those are occurring on.
I just have one question about the committee meeting we just had, which is great, and I'm glad the whole board was there for it. I thought it was an important one. So the staff that were there, do they choose to be there? Are they selected? Like, how does it?
Yes,
I thought it
the-
was just open to. Well, is it just open to everyone?
It is open to everyone. So
Okay.
anyone can attend that
Okay.
meeting, but our administrators ask their staff for interested parties to be a representative, mostly because we couldn't fill the entire.
everyone,
Yes,
yeah.
but
But
so
anyone
we need to
could
have
come.
representatives.
Anyone
Anyone
could
can come.
It was an open meeting.
In
obviously.
addition to those representatives from the school.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. It was a packed house.
It was, and it's a
think these two
fantastic
didn't
group.
have a seat, or Ryan either.
I apologize for that.
No, but it's.
But
good
we're
problem
always
to
happy
have.
to hear from all of our contributors.
So I too will apologize that I am neither as entertaining as a group of students, sorry, nor am I as exciting as a budget presentation from Mosen. So I will do my best though to make this interesting. So as Dr. Robinson mentioned, our LRC team has been doing some work on our LRC framework. You can see the 4 areas listed there. We have information literacy, enjoyment of reading, digital citizenship, and STEM. And that is where we received the state grant 2 years ago for just under $400,000 for the STEM resources, which we did put into place at all of our schools and in the LRC. So I also do want to take a moment to recognize Michelle Lara. She is the LRC director at Salt Creek. For many years, she has been our LRC lead teacher, and she is retiring at the end of this year, and she has done such incredible work for our team. She's been an amazing support, so that will be a tough role to fill when she retires, and just want to say thank you so much to Michelle for the work that she did and continues to do to support our group. So thank you, Michelle. The Skyward Q update. Also want to thank Janet, who's in the room in the back, for the work she has done, and also for the eye roll. Thank you for that, Janet. That was nice. For Janet, obviously likes recognition. So Janet's work in helping support the finance side of Skyward Q. We're currently on Skyward SMS and working to make that transition to Skyward Cumulative. Kathy Savage, who is the director of IT, who's been working on the student information side, and also the HR team, who's been working on the HR switchover. Our focus is to make this a very smooth process and this very smooth transition for everyone involved. So thank you to that team who is working diligently to make that happen. Also, we're working and looking at planning for future ready and 2040 competencies. This is an item that Dr. Gleany began talking about very early on when he started his transition. And originally we were talking about 2035 competencies to make sure that our students are prepared for the future, for the world they are going to enter when they are done with their formal education. We were looking at 2035, but then thought maybe we should move that to 2040, realizing that our kindergartners today will be graduating high school in 2038. So we want to make sure that they are ready. Yes, I figured there'd be a few moments of you feel the weight of that. Yes, as do I. Yeah, everyone take a moment. Okay, pause, moment, process. Okay, that's enough time. So as we move on, we want to look really at those competencies that will prepare students for the future. But often when people hear future ready or 2040 competencies, language like that, they automatically move to tech. We're not really talking about tech. That's part of it, but that's not the whole of it. We're talking about skills like critical thinking, problem solving, information literacy, and leveraging technology. So looking at what are those skills that students need that transcend all of the specific areas, but will make them successful no matter what they choose. And oftentimes they're going to choose multiple things. So many people change their major multiple times in college. They choose multiple careers. And are we positioning our students to be able to have success no matter what they choose, and that they'll be adaptable and they'll be able to move between their choices and their career choices very easily and seamlessly? So that's the work we're doing with these competencies and looking to really develop this and embed it within our instruction and build these out. We're going to have a lot more information. We're going to have feedback sessions. We're going to really work with staff, with families, and build out this progression that gets our students really ready for their future. And finally, a big part of that certainly is AI. We hear a lot about AI. It's fairly impossible to avoid the term and a lot of use of that right now. But what we want to look at as a district is we want to be extremely thoughtful in our use and how we proceed with AI. For staff, for students, our thinking around what AI affords for us as a district is it has the potential to amplify student learning potential. And so we want to be thoughtful about that in a way that also considers things like, what does AI do in terms of bias? What does AI do in terms of things like, you probably heard the term hallucinations, meaning that AI is prone to sometimes just make things up. And we want to allow our students to be able to, because they're interacting with that outside of our schools in ways that they may not be critical consumers of or critical developers of content using AI. So as a district, we want to create an AI position. We want to create an AI process that allows us to leverage that appropriately and powerfully in schools, but also teaches our kids what it is and how to use it. So more to come on that. That is, I think, an amazingly fascinating area, and there's a lot to be discussed and a lot to be shared as we move forward in those areas. And you are welcome. That's the last update from us. So
that concludes our updates. So
All right, thank
quite
you.
a lot going on.
No, I liked it. I liked how everybody got a chance to give their input. So thank you.
Thank you, Durham, for listening.
Yeah, we'll get to yours. Yeah, we'll get to it soon. So next is our
Sorry.
consent agenda. We have items 6.01 through 6.06. If I could get a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Move to second. Any questions? If not, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bookler?
Aye.
Ms. Beck? Aye. Miss Eddy? Aye. Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Miss Kitzinger?
Aye.
Miss Notini? Aye. Mr. Chesney?
Aye.
All right. If we can move it, can we go into 7.6 real quick, the transportation bid, so we can consider that one. Then you guys can leave once we
You're
take a
being
vote
too
on
nice.
this.
Wait.
They're waiting for this.
That's all right. You gotta work for the contract a little bit. All right, so we have in front of us, if we get a motion to approve the student transportation services provided by Durham in the amount over 3 years of $22,648,000.
$22,000 a good price.
Wow.
Just making sure you're paying attention. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Moving in second. Any questions, comments? Not, can I have a roll call vote?
Ms. Sack? Aye. Ms. Eddy? Aye. Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kitzinger?
Aye.
Ms. Notini? Aye. Mr. Chesney? Sorry.
I mean, she might,
Okay.
but she might be
Mr.
watching.
Chesney?
Aye.
Mr. Buckler?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Have a good one.
Congratulations.
Leaving the building.
All right.
All right.
7.1 is the closing date for school. So if I could get a motion to approve the final school date of, where is it? What is it?
June 1st.
June 1st, 2026.
I'll make, sorry.
Huh?
Okay, I'll make the motion.
And I'll second.
Any questions?
Can I ask what day of the week that is?
Monday.
It's a Monday. Okay, there's been a little talk
Next
about
year it's a
that.
Friday, though. Right? Next year.
We're required to do 176 days, so every now and again it hits
It's
just
gonna
right,
fall on a
and
Monday.
other times it doesn't.
Okay, there's an answer. Thank you.
One of those.
All right, if we could get a vote, please.
Ms. Eddy? Aye. Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kitzinger? Ms. Notini?
Aye.
Mr. Chesney?
Aye.
Mr. Buckler?
Aye.
Ms. Sack? Aye.
All right, motion passes. Then 7.2, we have a proclamation for Volunteer Appreciation Week. And I'm in the Bird office a lot, and I think they have like an old proclamation in there, so I don't know if we can get that one updated for them. It's from it's a while ago. I'll bring it. Actually, it's for Staff Appreciation Week. It's from like 4 years ago. All right, so if I could, somebody wants to read this?
All the whereases?
Yep.
All right. Whereas the mission of Community Consolidated School District 59 is preparing students to be successful for life, whereas the future success and well-being of our children largely depends on a quality public education, whereas volunteers give unselfishly of their time and talents throughout District 59 schools to provide assistance to students and staff, and whereas District 59 volunteers are advocates for children, partnering with schools, parents, educators, and business leaders in support of the educational process and student success.
All right, got a motion. Can we get a second?
Second.
All right, so, now that hereby resolved part. All right, so now therefore be it resolved that April 20th to 24th, 2026 is hereby proclaimed Public School Volunteer Appreciation Week within Community Consolidated School District 59 in recognition of the contributions made by volunteers working throughout our school district during the 25-26 school year for the benefit of students, staff, and our community. If we could get a vote.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Ms. Notini?
Aye.
Mr. Chesney?
Aye.
Mr. Buckler?
Aye.
Ms. Sack?
Aye.
Ms. Eddy? Aye.
All right, motion's approved. And this one is for Staff Appreciation Week. So whereas, I'll make the motion. So whereas preparing students to be successful in life is the mission of CCSD59 and the economic future of our community, state, and nation is dependent upon a knowledgeable and informed citizenry. And the week of May, whereas the week of May 4th through 8th, 2026 has been designated as National Teacher Appreciation Week. And members of the Board of Education desire to recognize teachers and all employees of School District 59 for their dedicated contributions. So therefore be it further, now therefore be it resolved that on the 8th day of April 2026, on behalf of the residents, parents, and students, and especially members of the Board of Education, the week of May 4th through 8th, 2026 is hereby proclaimed as Staff Appreciation Week within the CCSD59 community. Now therefore be it further resolved, the President and Secretary of the Board of Education will sign the proclamation attached hereto, and a certified copy of the proclamation will be sent to each school within CCSD59. Can I get a second?
Second.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah,
So you're going to hand deliver it to them?
I will do that.
Okay,
Sure.
perfect.
We could get a vote, please?
Ms. Kitzinger,
Aye.
Ms. Notini,
Aye.
Mr. Chesney,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Bookler,
Aye.
Ms. Zach,
Aye.
Ms. Eddy, aye, Mr. Johnson.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And next we have the approval of our mass communications tool contract. So if I could get a motion to approve the contract as outlined in the resolution.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Move to second. Any other questions about it? Okay, if not, if we have a roll call vote.
Ms. Notini,
Aye.
Mr. Chesney,
Aye.
Mr. Bookler,
Aye.
Ms. Zach,
Aye.
Ms. Eddy, aye, Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Kitzinger.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next, we have the staff laptop refresh. If I could get a motion to approve,
I'll make the motion.
what's the total cost?
9,
Staff refresh in the amount of $906,998 with final cost to be determined by final staffing numbers.
I'll make the motion.
All right, take a second.
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 All right, any questions, comments? If not, we can do a roll call vote.
Mr. Chesney.
Oh.
Didn't I just say Mr. Chesney?
Aye.
Mr. Bookler,
Aye.
Ms. Zach,
Aye.
Ms. Eddy, aye, Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Kitzinger,
Aye.
Ms. Notini.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Give me a hard
And I
time.
think we have one more donation resolution. Somebody would like to read that, please? Not
Okay,
at
I'm
once.
just, no, you're on a roll. Go ahead.
No, I'm done reading.
You're done,
It's your
okay.
turn.
All right, let me zoom in.
If you want to, I will.
We've got another one from Mr. and Mrs. Miller. That's great. Be it resolved, start there?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, be it resolved that on the 8th day of April 2026, District 59 Board of Education $100 donation to Salt Creek Elementary School from Lori and former Chief David Miller to support student school lunches. Be it further resolved that the superintendent shall communicate to Lori and David Miller in writing, expressing the appreciation of the members of the Board of Education, and that the donation shall be listed in the official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Move to second. Could we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bookler,
Aye.
Ms. Zach,
Aye.
Ms. Eddy, aye, Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Kitzinger,
Aye.
Ms. Notini,
Aye.
Mr. Chesney.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much.
I love the energy.
Discussion items, we have the meal fees for the 26-27 school year. Going up, what? 10 cents?
Ooh.
Okay. Any questions about it?
Based on the CPI.
Questions? Anybody? Nope. All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Next, we have the food service contract renewal, which Mosen already checked or talked about in his his superintendent update. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. We'll
Nope.
move on to the refuse recycling service.
This is once again a higher than CPI. One of those things you go through a big process. And that's the industry.
Okay.
So for this recycling service,
That's really our garbage collection at all our locations.
I'm just curious, do we have any paperless initiatives like to minimize just the use of paper?
You know, if I were to count the paper we make, every school district administrator has always monitored number of copies. We are in digital age, but we still print paper, and we encourage double-sided. But I can assure you, every year the count goes up.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, actually, I do like the fact that teachers are using paper, But, there may be some other areas where it makes sense to, just use a digital copy and print only when necessary. I would not dare suggest that taking away from what kids needs to learn, because I do believe in the physical for kids more than the tablets. But thinking that we print more than just, handouts for kids.
And I'm fully aware of it. We have paper cut features in our copier, but it's communication age, so I can say how much paper is being used, and it's for productive purpose. But yes, we're always looking for ways to not print if we don't need to print. PDF and save.
Okay, thank you. What else? We have the health and dental insurance renewal. Is that anything different than you presented earlier? What's the numbers?
I think Ross mentioned the health insurance committee worked on it. The original quotations were much higher. Once again, this is an area we've been focusing on. We'll be spending more time to bring the cost down because it's at a significantly higher rate than CPI. At this time, some of those recommendations made a lot of sense. We implemented those, and we're going to be bringing that for approval.
The increase is the 7.52, right? Not the
actual,
10%?
yep, the actual
Yeah.
increase.
Okay.
And I'll give you just the perspective from what I'm hearing other districts next to NSSEO. This is very low.
No,
increase.
I know.
I mean, NSSEO itself is a lot higher, and most of the member districts also are experiencing higher numbers.
Yes, this is
So
under the current industry average. And I see Janet now there too, who also is a huge support on the insurance committee. And we are making tweaks and changes to the plan, which we have not had to make for many, many years, but we're doing it in a responsible, proactive way because this is a big recruitment and retainment benefit. Not only that, but it aligns to our value of taking care of our staff. So it is a little bit scary to start watching some of those insurance numbers out in the world, but we have good vendors, we have a good committee, we're forecasting forward to get ahead of this as much as we can.
And we've worked with our union as well through the insurance committee and there's nothing.
I must say the members on the committee especially the teachers union and the employees union have been very, very cooperative and really work as a team.
So can only appreciate all the hard work put into it. Thank you so much. And it's great to hear the collaboration. Thank you.
Okay, then we have the seal coating and restriping bid. I think we just do this on a rotation.
We received 5 bids, out of which really 2 were in compliant. Being in compliant means is if you don't submit a bid bond, you're in non-compliant. This company, which we are recommending, has done work for us, very reliable and compliant. The price is reasonable for the work they do. And just for information, bid bond means is if you submit a bid and you are selected, and if you don't perform, the insurance company will reimburse the school district if we go out and don't get a price as attractive. So that's absolutely required.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, if not, I think the last one is the e-learning plan renewal.
Yes, the e-learning plan. So as you know, we currently have an e-learning plan in place. The plan must be renewed every 3 years and filed with the Regional Office of Education. So this is a mandatory compliance component. By submitting this, we then maintain the flexibility when there's an emergency closure day to use an e-learning day or make up a traditional makeup day. Typically, we would use an e-learning day only if we had enough notice and able to be able to provide our staff and our families with notice so they are prepared for that the following day. And so in reviewing the plan, we met with union leadership, met with cabinet, coordinated with technology and innovation, making sure that everything was up to date. We routinely receive feedback from our principals after having an e-learning day to gather feedback from the staff and from families, and made slight changes to the plan, but overall the plan has been very successful. And so we are presenting that tonight for discussion. We'll have a public hearing at the next board meeting in May, and then submit for approval in June.
Any questions?
No, the teachers did a great job when we had our e-learning day, so
Yes.
thank you.
They work very hard to make sure that it's a seamless transition as much as it can be.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
And I've heard couple different opinions, almost bipolar, on whether or not we should have had the e-learning from parents.
Yeah.
What's the sentiment from the teachers? I'm just curious.
The feedback that we have received, the teachers really enjoy the continuity of instruction and not having to tack on additional days. So that's the
So if we
typical.
did not have this, we would have voted on June 2nd as the last day? Yeah.
Do kindergartners and first graders bring home their devices daily? Okay.
Yes, that is the recommendation.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so now we have our reports. If we just want to, you can hit on any committees you have, but we'll start down at the end with Mr. Chesney.
Sorry, Mike, there we go. From my reports, unfortunately, I can't give any communications because I had to miss the today's meeting. But I do have a quick update on NSSEO. We've had a meeting yesterday of the NSSEO board asked all of the representatives to go back to the districts. Hence, I'm talking about it right now on opinions whether or not, and that's not to vote on the resolution, but to whether or not commission the administration to work on two resolutions. One, basically the resolution for the safety, whether or not the recent wave of resolutions regarding ICE and how to behave. I can't say what will be in it because they still have to work on it. They have not done any work on it. And the second, the related signage. We've decided that it's best to keep it separate because we don't know what will be the opinion of member districts. And we don't want one to delay the other. Like if you like the signage, but you don't want to do another resolution, or you like the resolution, don't want to do the signage. Like, we just want the administration to prepare two different resolutions. If both of them pass, 2-3 months from now, great. If one of them passes, there's something that there is movement. So I wanted to hear from everybody here if you're good for me to say aye on administration working on it. All right, excellent. So that's the first one. Second, I believe everybody received the NSSEO budget in their emails. We was just approved to send yesterday. So I think it would be great if you familiarize yourself with it. I'm pretty sure everybody here already seen something like that before, but if you have questions, we can either ask our business officer here to answer anything, right?
It's going to be on the agenda for next month because we just got it. So yes.
Oh, even
definitely.
better. I wasn't sure about the timing if we have time till next month. That's why because it's all very tight, right? So yeah, we'll have it on the agenda. I don't believe it will be this time, the NSSEO superintendent coming in and presenting, simply because they're in the middle of negotiations and having to go to different districts and present would make it impossible to negotiate the contract. And that's the end of my update.
Thank you, Mr. Buckler.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas, for all the information and all your work you do with that. So we appreciate it. Thank you. I want to piggyback off of what Dr. Galini was saying about getting into the schools and seeing all the outstanding work that's going on. I had a chance to visit 3 schools over the past week and a half or so. I went to Devonshire Junior High and the Early Learning Center, and I truly mean this. We are so lucky to have the staff and the students and how hard they worked. I started at Devonshire last Thursday with Samantha Stone. The principal there gave me a tour. She even doubled as a custodian. There was a water spill, so we took care of that. So she does it all over there, along with her assistant principal, Christy. I had a chance to teach in Mrs. Deal and Mr. Belford's gym classes. I did a juggling lesson. Mr. Ludoff was there, and he was doing great, by the way. So that was awesome. So I had 3 fifth grade classes. I had Miss Vaders, Mrs. Heffernan, and Mrs. Hassey. The kids were wonderful. They were so well behaved, very, very respectful. And I know I also got a chance to go into a 4th grade classroom, Mrs. Alyssa Jelke's room, before they were going on a trip to Arlington Heights, the metropolis, to see a show. So just a great experience, wonderful school. And I know Mrs. Stone, it was Thursday, she had an egg hunt that the staff was going through the halls, getting the eggs and coming to the office to get prizes. So great way to engage them. I was very happy and definitely hope to go back there. And then I went to Grove Junior High for one of my kids' IEP meetings, and I'm so pleased, Katie, with the special education, the team, Mrs. DeVito, Mrs. Hakey, Mrs. Castellani, Mrs. Adante, and Nurse Webster, that they are so committed to the students, and I've talked to other parents as well, not just my experience over there, that they care and they are treating the child as if it's their own. So really appreciate that. It's like having another advocate there. So I couldn't be any happier with Grove and Mrs. DeVito for leading that meeting, and Mrs. Dante as well, and the other people I mentioned. Mr. Ludoff and I then went on a tour with Mrs. Jenke, our principal, and we got to see Ms. Gordon's math class. We got to see Mrs. Farley's newcomer class, Mr. Dianza's creative technology. So a lot of cool things going on in there. Talked with Mr. Alloway as well, and my son, we saw Mrs. Whitman. My son always talked about Mrs. Whitman and loves her. So as all the teachers there. And then I went to the Early Learning Center, where I met with Principal Ramsey and the Early Learning Center coordinator, Melissa Ward. I appreciate them giving me a tour, taking me through the building. And we visited Emily Carpenter's room. The kids were starting their afternoon there with Mrs. Juhas and Mrs. Winfield. They're all working with the kids. I know Miss Ward and Miss Ramsey got there as well. So there were a lot of adults to help out. It was just wonderful. And I thank all the teachers and the principals for inviting me in. And I have 2 board members to thank, Michelle Notini and Sarah Zach, for having the Adopt a School board member program. I know Grove technically isn't mine, but I was already there for a meeting. I think Nikki's got that one. But thank you for doing that, because it got me out into some schools that I might not have been able to go. So when we do come, as Dr. Galini put in his communication, we're there to help, to be a resource, find out what it is that our schools need, that the board and Dr. Galini and his team can do to better support everyone. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Okay, so I also got to visit a class with Dr. Galini, or school rather. We went to Forest View early in March. It was wonderful. We got to see a bunch of classrooms and talk to the principal and assistant principal over there. So always love visiting schools. Also love the Adopt a School program. Can't wait to keep talking about that more, which we did talk about with Michelle and Rachel in our meeting earlier this evening. And so I hope that we can further discuss as a board how we're going to move forward with the Adopt a School program next school year, right? And hopefully just to get more committed and just make sure that we are visiting. I know it's so hard because we all have normal day-to-day life, but I do think, like Ryan said, it's very important to get into the schools, make ourselves visible, make sure that the staff know that we are here for them, and And so we could and, getting to know each other. So super important. We got to keep that at the top of our list.
Yeah, and it depends on, each board member's individual schedule
Absolutely.
with families and everything as well.
Yeah.
I was on spring break the past week and day, so it made it a little easier for me to get in. So
Well, it's also cool that you were just there for a meeting and you were like, hey, can I see? And they were like, yeah. I mean, it's that easy, right? If we just like pop in for something for our kids.
I set it up in
you know.
advance.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
give me a tour now.
I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't mind anyway, right? So, yeah, I just think that's great. So we need to keep discussing that and make sure that we are getting in there. Also had our committee meeting for safety, and I just want to impress upon all of our staff who might be listening, hopefully it's all of you, that we make sure that we're using our branching minds. I think that was like a big thing that I gathered from this meeting. Document incidents as they happen so that we have proper data. Use it, don't be worried. And if you have questions, always reach out to our SLT, reach out to the board, reach out to our superintendent, reach out to each other. When we work together, we're doing the best that we can for our students. So I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything else I have. I think that's it.
For once, I have no committee updates. But I'd like to wish everyone well in the last couple months of the school year.
No committee updates, but I do have to agree with Nicole that teachers, our students are so different since COVID. They're not just our learning disabled kids or the kids that might look and say something out of turn. Their behaviors are different. Document, it is not your fault per se. We all want to be there to support you. So just document.
All right, the only update I have is to expand upon what Nicole was talking about with Adopt a School. We did meet with Rachel earlier today. Thank you. And Rachel's going to help us because I'll admit I've been struggling with Adopt a School. It's just hard for me to get to a school during the day, but even after school. So Rachel is going to help us find the events that work for us, and considering our schedules, and also will benefit our schools. It'll we're not just going to be in the crowd. We're going to maybe have some presence and maybe have a role present, but she's going to help us find those activities and hold us accountable. I've actually asked her to do that. Put on the calendar, just a board meeting. So thank you, Rachel, for helping us and really bringing that to our attention that we say we're going to do this, we've got to do it. Our schools are looking for us to be involved.
I know Friendship. I now have the calendar for Friendship in my Google. So if any schools want to send us their calendars, I know exactly what clubs are going on and what's going on.
Okay, I'm just curious. Why do you have Friendships? Everybody, no, it's just that easy.
Well,
he sent it to you. Oh, okay.
After we went on the tour.
Is it more than the calendar that's on the website, or is it?
I have every single club. I don't know.
He really wants us to come. So,
I know
Friendship's my school, and I haven't been able to get there.
Principal Stone at Devonshire, she has reached out to me, emailing me a couple events, hey, if you can make it, come.
Yeah, no, everybody's been great. My schools have been great, but again, we can always do more. But Rachel's going to help us find those activities so that we can commit to Adopt a School and have a good presence.
And I know I shared this with Michelle, but I think what's something that's maybe important, just because we have full-time jobs and little kids, blah blah blah, is perhaps narrowing the scope so that we can, if you have 3 schools, it's very difficult to visit all 3 schools for all events. So maybe narrowing. I know you guys talked about a couple different ways we can narrow, but maybe doing 1 school a semester or 1 school a year or whatever. That's much more manageable than I know some of you have adopted 3, and that's really difficult.
You're going to have to wrestle Devonshire away from me. I'm not giving it up.
Michelle, I can chime in real quick there, just on the cadence. Something we talked about was it's important for all of the schools to be represented. We just don't want some versus others. So I think ensuring that all of the schools are covered, which would mean all of you either have 2 and I think there would be 1 person who probably has 3, but we want to be cognizant of your busy schedules. So something we discussed was having it be 1 event that you would for sure go to at least per trimester, since were broken up into trimesters. So that's 3 per year. And then if you had two schools, that would be 6 events. So hopefully that feels a little more obtainable. And then we would outline a clear purpose and goal of what the Adopt-a School is specifically and share that with all the principals. So there is a clear goal and intention that's consistent across the board.
And I think a lot would depend on our schedule, because I've got 3 kids in 2 different schools. I've got my own school and then the Adopt-a School. So,
Yeah.
you know, and then the other extracurricular activities, the baseball, the gymnastics. So
that's
you know,
the goal, is
certainly
to give
when
you
I
a
can
list.
When I can go, then yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we'll give you, you know, not just one event. We would give you a few so that you kind of could match it to your schedule.
If we could increase visibility when we are there too, do anything we could to increase this, just like even having, like, if you're at a choir concert, being like, thank you to this board member who's there, so that then community members know, oh, that's her. I'll go give all my complaints to her, but we don't know who we are, you know, as opposed to just being kind of like.
Point over there. That's it.
No, just so people know who we are, because that's one of the aims of the program, is to kind of like get us out there. People know who is representing them. So,
yep, we were going to think through the visibility piece and how we can play into that. So more to come.
Oh, and also I just want to add coffee with the board. We talked about that as well, how that's kind of, you know, been a flop. But if we do bring recognition events back to the board meetings, those could be like the times that we have coffee with the board, because there may be, you know, families coming anyway, and we'll have some treats for them, you know. So just thinking that might be a good way to let's bring that back with recognition events.
I've got one more thing. I can go last. All right.
You were the one who said you wanted these to be shorter.
Yes. Yes, but that's important for the coffee with the board and additional items, because that might be a good example of where it's worth it. Everybody here is invited to Claremont Dual Language Celebration, which is going to be May 6th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. It will be right in Claremont. It's going to be on the yard as well as the cafeteria. It's typically great fun. Kids have a little bit of music and disco. There's going to be a lottery, a drawing. There's going to be a bunch of opportunities for kids to play, some food, and a bunch of other things.
Is that our next meeting? No?
I hope
Was
not.
it- Oh, 13th. Okay, sorry.
This is on the 6th, so. And if it was, we could move our meeting there.
We have to check with Brandon and Rachel for anything first. All their equipment.
But coffee with the board might be a good opportunity to have there at the same time. Just saying. I volunteer. Yeah. I need the number.
We can connect.
But I have the
with this.
email.
All right, so to go, good.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so to go along with the theme, we have our 8th grade graduations coming up. So I don't know, I think Maribel, you linked to it. Or maybe you could send around that spreadsheet so board members can sign. We just want at least one board member at each one. So you can sign up for the different, there's 2 in one night, and then, yeah, okay.
We talked about that as well. With the communication committee was hopping tonight. We talked about the idea of live streaming the graduation ceremonies. I know, Ryan, didn't you bring that up last year? Live streaming the graduations?
Yes, yeah. I brought it up with Ben, and I think it had to work out with the high school, and there are some issues with that, or having to hire a production. So,
Yeah, last year there wasn't enough lead time, and it just didn't work out with the high school for them to be able to staff that, and we don't have the equipment on our team to do so. So we did talk about it in the communications committee meeting, because I know you had mentioned it last year to see if that was of interest exploring this year. Sounds like from the communications committee, it is of interest. So we would have to outsource that or work with 214 to see if they have the ability and time and staff to help us with that. So I'm going to work on exploring the cost and what that looks like.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be great for families that weren't in town that they could watch. Of course, I know everyone's got their recordings then too, so.
Definitely let us know. There are two that one night on the Wednesday, so they would probably need like two sets
Right.
of
Setups.
like setups because moving it
And
in
it's a
that
pain in
amount
the
of
butt
time.
to try and get over there.
Yeah.
Unless
So-
each high school already has the equipment on site.
Right. Well, let us know.
Because when they
Thanks.
record their theater
Yeah.
events. And
Okay. All right, I think that's it for updates, so I just need a motion. Anything else? Oh, okay. I just need a motion to go into closed session for items A through E.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, and then once we're out of closed session, we'll just adjourn the meeting. So nothing after that, but can you get a roll call vote?
All right. Ms. Sack? Aye. Ms. Eddy? Aye. Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kitzinger?
Aye.
Ms. Notini?
Aye.
Mr. Chesney?
Aye.
Mr. Bookler?
All right.
All right, we'll go into closed session. Thanks.